What was the best moment you've seen where the real world hit a spoiled rich kid? Knew a rich kid whose parents bought a car for, and he treated it like absolute garbage. Purposely driving it really hard and generally abusing it, confident in the notion that his parents would buy him the one he wanted after he destroyed the one they got him. Well, they didn't buy him another one, ever. He rode the city bus and bummed rides off of friends after that. I grew up with rich kids and still keep in touch with a few of them. One guy's father owned the most prestigious law firm in town. He said his life changed the moment he called his father from jail, the second time it happened. His father said, "Well, sorry to hear you got arrested, good luck," then hung up. He said getting locked back into his cell was the singular moment that completely turned his life around. My grandfather was the same way as an attorney/father. A favorite family story is when my uncle called him from a police station on a Friday night. He was in high school at the time and got caught drinking. My grandfather answered the phone and simply asked, "What did you do?" And my uncle responds, "Nothing." "Great, tell them to let you go," hangs up the phone and goes back to sleep. Both my uncle and the police were stunned, but it being the weekend, my uncle ended up having get transferred to the county jail until Monday morning. The police from the jail called my grandfather on Monday morning and said, "You've got to pick the poor kid up." His time in jail wasn't particularly traumatic, but it taught him a pretty valuable lesson in how principled my grandfather was. Had he been honest and just admitted what he did, he wouldn't have been in that situation. I knew this rich kid from high school that went off to college and partied every single night. His parents found out that he was failing basically all of his classes, so they secretly drove up early one Saturday morning with the spare set of keys to the car they had bought him and just drove off with the car. Somewhat distant relative spent all of his university years and 20s partying hard with the 100-120k allowance his rich company owning father gave him each year. He'd travel the world each year, going to Bali, Thailand, Europe, every year Oktoberfest, just rampaging. At 32 or so, he decided to settle an upscale ski resort area of the US and open a business with his hot gold digger fiancée. When he went to transfer his money to his US bank account, he noticed it only came to a few $1,000s. He angrily asked the bank worker why she hadn't transferred the entire amount, only to be told that that was the entire amount. His father had cut him off without saying anything, and he just hadn't noticed. Absolute flatline. I had a roommate my freshman year of college that came from an incredibly rich oil family from the Middle East. I remember him having the hardest time adjusting to not having someone else prepare him food. I remember waking up one morning and going to the kitchen and seeing him try to eat eggs and toast he had just prepared himself. He asked me how I normally prepare fried eggs because his tasted really crunchy. Turns out he had just cracked the egg hole into the pan and prepared it shell and all. I couldn't stop laughing, but felt really bad for the dude. Administration and faculty at a university refused a substantial offer of endowment money from a couple that wanted their son enrolled as an art major. Their son couldn't meet the minimum scholastic entrance requirements, and he had little aptitude for art. Still, with their millions, he thought money would buy his way to an easy degree as an art major. I knew a guy in high school who bragged that he didn't have to pay attention in school because, get this, his grandfather was a vice president of the corporation that supplied the cardboard for cereal boxes for General Mills. Real gravy train. Yeah, no. Last I checked, since deleted Facebook, he was still working at Best Buy 5 years after high school, same job he had in high school. My best moment was when I got hired by a pair of Woodside, California parents to transition their horrible 18-year-old into the realities of real life, something that evaded both of them. My first action was to take away his Platinum, Limitless credit cards. He threw a tantrum that lasted several days. "Where am I going to get money? Get a job. My parents will fire you." They didn't. When he realized that boundaries and budgets had been set in stone, and that he not only had to pay the bills, the rent, but taxes too. He headed straight to college to wait out the next 4 years. He is still a little jerk, but at least he has a job and an education now. While working in a casino here in Las Vegas, a herd of girls came to my window, and one proceeded to tell me about a great birthday party itinerary that her dad had paid for her 18th birthday, with no adult in the party, just a bunch of teenage girls out in Vegas, where none of them could do anything because none of them were 21. I couldn't even check them into their reservation. They start yelling and screaming at me. I calmly call security, and security tells them they can either go play in the arcade or leave and try to find a hotel off the strip that will take them and out being 21. The anger turns to tears. The security guard is unmoved. No joke here. Back in high school, 90s, this kid got a brand new Chevy Camaro. I had an old ass 80s Pontiac Phoenix that had the straight 6. It was by far not a racing car, but this tool was just looking to brag at what he got compared to the busted cars we got. About 2 days later, while we were waiting at a stoplight, this idiot tries to race us as I'm in my car, and I pull up with my friends. He starts by revving it really loud and tries to do a burnout. Mind you, the light was red and the roads were not wet. So he managed to get a tiny burnout going, some smoke and whatnot. When his tires did catch traction, he went barreling into the intersection and smashed the car of the wife of one of the very few cops in my small city. Needless to say, that didn't work out for him very well. Nothing too serious, but I taught at an international school in Africa and we would take the high school students camping 1 week out of the year. Many of these kids are not used to camping at all and have never even taken public transport. They have full-time drivers bring them to school and pick them up. Some of them are from very wealthy and politically connected families. Having to set up tents and get dirty, not be able to shower every day, and sleep on hard ground is new to them. Some of them actually love it, but others are sad, pathetic wretches the entire week. Local rich kid had his sub parked in a no parking area at a club. Tow truck shows up to tow it away, and the kid goes ballistic. Do you know who my dad is, etc. to the driver. After a minute or two of this, the passenger gets out of the tow truck and is a full patch Hell's Angel. The biker politely tells him it doesn't matter who he thinks his family is, and the sub is towed away. Not a person, but a whole community. We live in a very rich school system with loads of big money parents and they're cocky. Do you know my dad kids? I'm one of the few who isn't. Point now. Our baseball team has a team A and a team B, one which plays in an upper league and one that plays in a lower league. Me and a few of my friends, who had all played since we were little, played team B, like we always do. But this year, our A team was filled with the richest brats, all of whom had $700 equipment, and bragged about how good they were. We won our league, and Team A placed in the bottom of this. Now, to feel good about themselves, at least I assume, they scheduled an exhibition match with us. We got badly trash talked during the whole pregame, about how all of our regular metal bats didn't even compare to their beautiful wooden ones with their names carved in, everything like that. Our coach told us not to hold back. We didn't. Fast forward 4 innings, and it's a forfeit from their coach, with a score of 13-0. They've gotten 2 people on base, but other than that, it's been shootout pitching from my brother. I'm his catcher. We had stellar batting all around, and boy, did we feel good about that retribution. Edit, I got into the school on scholarship. Saw a college guy with a ridiculously expensive car. Can't remember the model. Rear-end this woman who drove an absolute beater. Her car was definitely totaled and his wasn't looking that hot either. He got out and started screaming at this woman. She was in tears. He kept telling her that she was going to pay for this. When the cops came, I saw each of them give their statements. After that, me and like 10 people came forward and gave our witness statements. It sounded like each and every one of us put complete fault on him, which was the truth. When the cops went back to him, I saw his face just sink. He probably told them it was her fault and just found out that 2 handfuls of people just confirmed that he's full of SHT. I've never seen that many witnesses stick around for a simple traffic accident. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. New videos every day. Check out our playlist.